Empire.
Welcome to Inside the Cap. I'm your host, Joel Corey. You can find me on Twitter at Corey Joel. That's CORRYJOEL. And also read my regular CBSSports.com and Agents Take. Today we're going to discuss one thing, and that is Dak Prescott's new contract. The Cowboys and Dak Prescott were able to reach an agreement before the March 9, 4 p.m. deadline for teams to use the franchise player designation. Prescott getting a deal done is kind of a surprise. The conventional wisdom was that this thing was probably going to drag out again like last year when Dak was franchised. And if a deal was going to get done, it was probably going to be closer to the July 15th deadline for franchise players to sign long-term deals. Now, the only way that a Dak Prescott deal was going to get done before the deadline, the March deadline, was for essentially the Cowboys to concede every major aspect of the deal. And by that would be average per year, contract guarantees, signing bonus, contract structure, and length of contract. And Jerry Jones said something very telling back in January on a radio show in Dallas when he said, "I don't know how you could have any more leverage," when referring to Dak Prescott. Now, for the most part, the Cowboys did concede everything on Dak Prescott's $160 million 4-year contract, which also contains 2 voiding years in 25 and 2026, dummy years. Now, in terms of average per year, I never thought there'd be a deal done unless Dak Prescott got to the $40 million per year mark. That was going to be what I thought the magic number. If you were going to get anything done, thought it could be a little bit higher, but that was going to be the magic number. Now, where does that number come from? Well, last year you had Deshaun Watson right before the regular season sign a contract for $156 million over 4 years, an extension, $39 million per year. With the incentives, the deal maxes out at $160. Dak also has some incentives in his deal, which could make the max value $164 million. So that was the first hurdle that was going to have to be crossed, was the $40 million per year mark. Now, where Dallas actually got a bit of a compromise to me was on length of contract. Last year, that was the biggest sticking point. Dak Prescott wanted a 4-year deal. Cowboys wanted 5. So Dak wanted to be under contract through the 2023 season. Now he's under contract through the 2024 season. That, on the surface, appears like a win for Dallas. But the 2024, being under contract through 2024, comes with little conditions. The Cowboys aren't allowed to put a franchise tag on Dak Prescott when his contract expires. So he's under contract through 2024, but that's going to put pressure on the Cowboys to do a deal that year, because if they don't, then he's going to be an unrestricted free agent. So yeah, Dak didn't get the 3 years this time around where he's under contract through 2023, but for all practical purposes, he's not going to play the last year of the contract anyway, just because of the way it's set up with the no franchise tag. Now, in terms of guarantees, Dak has $126 million in total guarantees. The most actual guarantees at the beginning of your contract, which it's second in the NFL behind Patrick Mahomes, who had $1,481,905 which guaranteed. Now, I know Mahomes has those mechanisms in his roster bonuses, the big roster bonuses, which vest or become fully guaranteed either a year or 2 years in advance, but they're not technically money that is guaranteed has a guarantee at signing. It's conditional later on, so that's treated a little bit differently. Although Mahomes' contract, the 10-year extension he signed for averaging $45 million per year, pretty much ensures he's going to be playing the bulk of that because of the way those roster bonuses work. But that being said, another important feature is the amount fully guaranteed at signing. That had been kind of stagnant. It had been Matt Ryan at $94.5 million Prescott has $95 million fully guaranteed at signing, which is the first 2 years of the contract. He's going to make $95 million through the first 2 years, and that's a new record for the amount fully guaranteed at signing. Signing bonus. Well, if you're going to have the 2 years, which dummy years, which void, that means you're going to put a huge signing bonus in the deal, so that you can eventually take the proration. You can spread out the proration more than you would otherwise. Without the voiding years, you can spread the proration of a signing bonus over 4 years. Now you can spread it over 5, and then if you choose to restructure the contract either in year two, so let's say you restructured it in 2022, you converted some of his salary into signing bonus. You can now stretch out the proration of the money you converted from 2022 through 2026. So now you can prorate that over 5 years as well. That's the reason you have the second voiding year, because you only prorate initially over 5 years. Now, in terms of signing bonus, NFL record, $66 million signing bonus for Dak Prescott. Previous record was $65 million by Russell Wilson. Now, Dak Prescott's signing bonus will be paid. I don't know the exact schedule for the payout, but it will be paid in the 2021 calendar year. That is huge. Because typically, you have huge signing bonuses, there is some sort of deferral into the next calendar year. And in Russell Wilson's case, when he had the $65 million signing bonus, $35 million was deferred until this past April 1st. Because the deal was done in 2019. He got more than half of it this year. When Aaron Rodgers became the highest paid player in NFL history at the time for $33.5 million per year in 2018, his $57.5 million signing bonus all paid by the end of the 2018 calendar year. Dak Prescott, the rest of the deal, has a $9 million base salary. So he's getting $75 million this year. He's got a $20 million base salary that's fully guaranteed in 2022. In 2023, he's got $31 million that is guaranteed for injury at signing. That's where you get the whole 126. That is the first 3 years of the contract. But the salary cap and skill guarantees kick in on the 5th day of the league year in 2022. It vests early. That makes sense. That's the only way you're going to get a deal like this done. You couldn't have 2023, the skill and salary cap guarantees vest in 2023, like Amari Cooper's contract does inexplicably. So essentially, he's guaranteed the first 3 years by next March. Next March, when 2023 becomes guaranteed, basically he's set there. The 4th year, that's the one where the Cowboys could eventually get out of it, provided they don't restructure the deal and add more to the bonus proration, which the voiding year suggests that they will. It's got a $29 million base salary in 2024 and a $5 million 5th day of the league year roster bonus. Now, if they want to avoid paying the 5th day of the league year roster bonus, knowing that you can't put a franchise tag on Dak Prescott after the 2024 season, they're going to get a deal done before the 5th day roster bonus. So that's kind of what you look for down the road is when there'll be a new extension, which would be probably then in 2024. That'd be March 2024. Now, only reason I think you're able to get Dak Prescott to give the 4th year was with the no franchise tag clause. I think without it, if you wanted to be a hard and fast 4-year deal where there's franchise him afterwards in 2025, probably wouldn't have had this deal done. Now, cap numbers, because you can prorate the signing bonus now over the 5th year as opposed to the 4th year, the signing bonus proration on the cap 21 through 2025 is $13.2 million each of those years. So Dallas gets the benefit of a lower cap number than they would have otherwise, because you would have had the bonus proration at $16.5 million per year without the dummy years from 2021 through 2024. So cap numbers in 2021 is 22.2, which is significantly lower than what you would have had on the franchise tag, as Dak's second franchise tag, 20% raise over $31.409 million would have been $39,690,800. So right there, the Cowboys, relative to the franchise tag, they saved $15,490,800 cap-wise, which allows them to be able to do a lot more things if they want to be some sort of players in free agency. They don't have to restructure as many contracts than they would otherwise. Cap number 2022, 33.2. Then it's 44 in 2023, and it's 47.2 in 2024. If for some reason Dak plays out this contract, then there's going to be $13.2 million in dead money or a cap charge for a player no longer on the roster, because if he plays it out, he's as good as gone. That's a $13.2 million cap charge in 2025. He also has a no-trade clause in this contract, and there have been reports that he's actually forcing that Todd France, Dak Prescott's agent, is requiring that Dallas formally put a franchise tag on him. So they use the second one. Because if that's the case, you really don't need the no franchise tag clause, because you essentially have it, because the third franchise tag would be extremely cost prohibitive. If you didn't have it, after you've used the second one, a third franchise tag, the final one you can put on a player under the CBA would be 144% of your 2024 salary. And the way that typically works, it's your cap number. So if you were talking 44% raise over $47.2 million cap number, you're talking a third tag at $67.968 million. So he was protected either way.
What's up? It's Mike Jones from the Football Jones podcast. I know you're enjoying your time with Inside the Cap, but once you're done, I want to invite you to come over and check out my podcast. Each week, we take a deep dive into some of the most pressing topics around the NFL. High-profile guests from the coach, player, and front office ranks, as well as the top league insiders. Check out the Football Jones podcast, another fine product brought to you by Empire Media.
Something that agents and team people look at, because the assumption has been that you'll play 3 years on a deal and then everything else is up in the air. Dak, after 3 years, $126 million, averages $42 million per year. That is the most money in the NFL. And if you look at 3-year compensation / first 3 new years, and since these deals are negotiated in new money, that means that he's number one at $42 million. Deshaun Watson is second at $41,333,333. Russell Wilson is third at $38 million per year in first 3 new years compensation. Now, an important benchmark for Dak was going to be the after 4 years, which is where the deal of Deshaun Watson. Deshaun Watson's now second at $39 million when you look at after first 4 new years. His deal is 4-year extension, so that's what it is. Patrick Mahomes is third at $38.95 million. We know that the Cowboys are probably not going to put a franchise tag on Dak Prescott if he continued to play the franchise tag game. But the $95 million in cash through 2021 and 2022, he's actually ahead of where he would have been if the Cowboys had gone 2 tags, because the third tag in 2022 would have been $54,274,752. Now, Dak Prescott would have made off of those 2 tags $91,965,552. So going year to year, Dak Prescott, it would be $3,034,448 behind, but then would be free and would have been able to name his own price at that point, but would have to play through franchise tag. So it's interesting that, at least to me, that Dak Prescott has more money in the actual deal than he would over playing the franchise tag game for this year and next year. Well, one thing we do know about this deal is that by Dallas waiting, it ended up costing them more money. To me, Dallas should have made Dak Prescott their first priority back in 2019 over DeMarcus Lawrence, getting him done after they franchised him a second time. Because back then you only had two $30 million per year players in the NFL. You had two guys done in 2018, Aaron Rodgers at $33.5 million per year and Matt Ryan at $30 million per year. So let's say you could have gotten Dak Prescott done back then. It would have been before Russell Wilson signed for $35 million per year. So let's say you paid him $31 million per year and you got the 5 years back then you wanted. You'd have paid him $155 million over the 5-year extension, which would have been 2020 through 2024. Now he's under contract through 2024. So if you look at what Dallas paid him, the franchise tag and the value of this deal, that's $191.409 million. So you're basically talking roughly you're talking $26.409 million is what you end up paying him more by dragging your feet. Now, if you'd done it last year, then you probably should have sweetened the offer a little bit more than the reported one that was on the table in the $35 million per year neighborhood. And let's say you exceed Russell Wilson's $35 million per year. You get to $35.5 million is an average. Well, then you would have been paying him $177.5 million to have him under contract. Assuming you could have gotten the 5-year deal, 20 through 2024. So that's still nearly $14 million right there. So by waiting, you can kind of quantify where Dallas dragged their feet. And you probably would have had to get him to sign a 5th year, put that no franchise tag thing in. Sign in 2019, that wouldn't have been possible. He wouldn't have gotten a no franchise tag clause. Now, with the no franchise tag clause, since he's going to get paid in 2023, he's going to be at 31 or on the verge of 31 at that point in time. Now, by then, Russell Wilson's going to have another contract from some team, whether he's in Seattle or someplace else, because 2023 is his contract year. And presumably, he doesn't play out of contract. He never has. He's always signed him in the last year of a deal. So that's probably going to be the important data point or benchmark for Dak Prescott, provided he continues to be a high-end quarterback when he's 31 or close to 31. That will probably set the floor for where Dak Prescott is. And at that point, Patrick Mahomes will be 2 years into his 10-year extension, have 8 years left. So the market is going to bypass Patrick Mahomes in a big way fairly quickly. There are a couple of guys who are probably very happy about this Dak Prescott deal, and that's Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson. The 2018 first-round picks are now eligible to sign extensions. Since they played 3 years, their teams are going to exercise their 5th-year options, which is going to equal the transition tag for this year. Both teams seem to have indicated they'd want to try to get a deal done this year. Now, you only had Deshaun Watson at $39 million per year. Now you got Dak at $40. That's going to give them more ammunition to get in that neighborhood, if not surpass Dak Prescott's $40 million per year. Now, Lamar Jackson can go, hey, I'm the MVP. I want an MVP. Dak hasn't, even though he's unconventional, maybe the best dual threat quarterback ever, not the pocket passer everybody else is, and Josh Allen really emerged this year. So those two guys are going to have more ammunition to get in that neighborhood, thanks to Dak Prescott. So, in sum, as far as I'm concerned, Dak Prescott exploited his leverage, and Dallas put something on the table for him, which made it worth his while to forego the franchise tag of $37,690,800 and then hitting free agency in 2022. The only way that got done, in my opinion, is the fact that Dallas made major concessions in practically every major aspect of the deal. The only one that I was surprised about a little bit is the length of contract. I thought Dak would stick to his guns on the wanting to be under contract through 2023. But the compromise was a no franchise tag, so they're going to have to come to him early, and also because of the 5th-day roster bonus of $5 million in 2024. So it's highly unlikely Dak Prescott plays under the 2024 contract year. But second $40 million per year player in the NFL, and Dallas gets their quarterback for the foreseeable future. So that's going to wrap up this week's edition of Inside the Cap. You can find me on Twitter at Corey Joel, that's CORRYJOEL, and also read my regular CBSSports.com Agents Take. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you back here next time. Goodbye.